We should never take impeachment off the table. We should never take, where we see law breaking, we should never take accountability off the table.
This nonsense from like AOC that he should be impeached is just absurd. Absurd. There's no, okay, get back to me when you've read the Constitution or get a law degree, because you sound like an absolute.
Megyn Kelly's return hit like a thunderclap, fast, fierce, and impossible to ignore. This wasn't just a comeback. It was an eruption that shook the room. AOC, who's used to owning the spotlight, looked caught off guard, completely unready for the firestorm headed her way. Megyn came armed with precision and power, every word hit like a strike, and the twist that followed left everyone stunned. After that clash, no one saw AOC the same way again. That moment didn't just make headlines, it rewrote the narrative.
Absolutely no ground to impeach the president. He 100% was within his constitutional authority and his congressionally authorized authority to do what he did on Saturday. Okay, but as for whether it's a good idea, that's a debate we should be having. And look, you know, if we could get congressional approval of the specific action, fine, I'm okay with that too. If you want to bring it to Congress, go ahead and see how that goes. I don't think it's necessary.
Megyn Kelly threw AOC straight into the spotlight, and this time the heat was brutal. It wasn't a debate, it was a dismantling. AOC walked in unguarded, and Kelly wasted no time exposing every crack in her polished image. Each word landed sharp, deliberate. Stripping away the veneer like a child tearing down fresh wallpaper, nothing left standing but the raw truth.
On AOC and see what she has to say.
Reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now.
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? I think this breakup we've been seeing a long time coming, but we'll see what the impacts are of it legislatively.
Okay. You're so cool referring to them as the girls. She's above it all, Ben. That's what she's trying to telegraph. You see, she's the adult in the room, the one out there who does a preacher accent. And she leans into her fake Latina accent. And like she's the
AOC's vibe flipped in seconds, from bubbly Instagram charm to pure confusion, like someone just changed the Wi-Fi password midstream, all while Megyn Kelly kept that sharp, unblinking stare that said the game's over.
True radical left, who's gone beyond all the identity issues. I mean, don't get me wrong. The person I'm going to show you is 100% wrapped in all of them, but like genuinely believes the Hitler fascist stuff, like is like distraught because they really think Hitler just got reelected. Most of them were just pretending, but then there are the ones who genuinely believe it, like AOC.
We are about to enter a political period that will have consequences for the rest of our lives. Donald Trump has talked about turning the military on U.S. citizens that he deems his domestic political enemies.
Here's the raw truth about AOC. She runs on instinct, not strategy. No solid plans, no real evidence. Just the show, the energy, the viral moments. Her strength isn't policy, it's performance. Every TikTok rant, every dramatic gesture crafted to feel like half TED Talk, half stage act, and somehow it works because people can't look away.
AOC has been out there on this, I don't know if it's campaign trail, I don't know what we're calling it, but this like fight the oligarchy tour with Bernie Sanders, from which, you know, venue to venue, she travels first class, sipping her champagne, you know, in the first class cabin as the losers and plebs walk by to coach. They're the ones she's really fighting for. And she's decided to ramp up her anti-Trump rhetoric in a way she's done before, but that could be deeply problematic for her if Trump actually decides to pay some attention.
Megyn skips the drama and goes straight for precision, while AOC storms in with flair and fiery lines. Megyn stays calm, focused, and surgical. She dismantles the act piece by piece until AOC looks less like a leader and more like a student caught off guard. Every fact, every point lands clean, leaving the crowd stunned and the so-called voice of the people looking suddenly very ordinary.
That AOC may be getting ready to run for president, that her team is looking, and I know you've said she could potentially do it, but her team is looking at maybe Senate. Chuck Schumer is, I think, going to be 78 when he runs for re-election. That's really old. And the Democrats seem to get that now. Or she might just go for president. And at the same time, this happened today. The Republicans in the House introduced a resolution to honor Charlie Kirk.
AOC built her image like a tech launch, sleek, staged, and sold as the future, but Megyn Kelly saw straight through it and ripped it apart in real time. Suddenly, that polished next-gen act looked less like destiny and more like a bad audition caught on C-SPAN. Megyn didn't Argue the talking points, she went for the show itself, breaking down the gestures, the pauses, the emotional peaks, until the whole thing looked like smoke and mirrors. It was the Wizard of Oz moment, curtain pulled, fog machine exposed. Half the crowd stunned, half laughing, the illusion gone. Megyn didn't just prove the emperor had no clothes, she showed he was trying to return them for a refund. And the timing was brutal. AOC's rise thrived on influencer politics, flash over substance, but Megyn's precision strikes stripped the shine clean off and left nothing but the truth gleaming underneath.
Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too. When he talks about rapists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
Clearly saying that Donald Trump is a racist. Rapist. She also thinks he's a racist. He's all the ists. But here, she's in deep trouble because he was not found liable for rape. And George Stephanopoulos just had to pay ABC some $15 million to President Trump to settle a defamation.
When Megyn called her out, the mask cracked hard. AOC walked in ready to play her usual game, grab the spotlight, rally the crowd, hashtag her way through. But this time the script failed. Comebacks only work when they're real, otherwise it's just empty noise. Megyn didn't go after her policies, she went after the performance itself, and that's where everything unraveled. AOC's biggest strength, her stage presence, turned into her downfall. The passion looked rehearsed, the drama looked fake, and the charm faded into panic. By the end, Megyn didn't just win the debate, she flipped the whole perception. Once people saw the act for what it was, the illusion shattered. It felt like realizing your favorite hero was just a stunt double all along.
There's AOC, who said the following.
And beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans. Far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution.
Then she voted no. She refused to join in the resolution. Consequences to her politically for doing that?
I would love to have her run for president of the Democratic side. It's a contrast, right? What you see is what you get. If that's what you think can lead this country, is that where your values are? Is that what you think will continue to promote American freedom?
Here's the real twist. Megyn wasn't even trying coffee in hand. Calm as ever, she dismantled a politician like it was just another Tuesday. Imagine the chaos. If she actually went full force, that wouldn't be an interview, it'd be a cheerful political demolition. When Megyn steps into the spotlight, the internet explodes, memes fly, feeds overload, talk shows scramble, and every attempt to spin it just makes it worse. By then, AOC's only move is to double down on the act, jazz hands, theatrics, hoping the audience laughs with her, not at her. But Megyn's strike landed clean, the curtain dropped, the illusion shattered, and suddenly AOC went from untouchable icon to exposed performer, leaving everyone stunned at how fast the power flipped.
This is relevant is because a congresswoman who you may know as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been telling us for years that she is from the Bronx. And recently she had a fight with President Trump over tweet, text, truth, whatever. And she played tough and said, "Oh, don't you mess with me. I'm a Bronx girl and we eat Queens boys for breakfast," because that's where Trump was raised, in the Queens. And respectfully, AOC. Well, that's real cute, except she only lived in the Bronx until she was 8.
Even when AOC stumbled through arguments or threw out wild comparisons, her crowd cheered like she'd just nailed a Broadway finale. But Megyn wasn't there to clap, she was there to expose the illusion. And the second the act started to crack, the tension hit hard. That's the brutal truth of performance politics. It only works if the audience keeps believing. With pinpoint precision, Megyn peeled back every layer of the act, the wide eyes, the dramatic pauses, the sweeping gestures, all once powerful now looked rehearsed and hollow. It felt like watching a magician repeat the same trick after you've already seen the secret. The magic was gone, and AOC knew it. Her control, her confidence, her spotlight, it all started to fade, leaving her standing there exposed under lights that suddenly felt way too bright.
The rest of her childhood, 1 through 12th grade, in Yorktown Heights, which is Westchester. And by any measure, it is richer, nicer, and more white collar than the Bronx, with all due respect to my friends in the Bronx. She's pretending to be a Bronx girl because she wants this to be part of her origin story, the same way as she wants now to be called Alexandria.
When Megyn stepped back, the whole thing collapsed. AOC didn't look like a confident leader anymore. She looked like a shaken performer forgetting her lines on stage. Megyn didn't need to shout. She just quietly pulled the strings loose one by one, and the unraveling was brutal to watch. AOC's power always depended on having a villain to fight, but when Megyn stayed calm, smiled, and let the emptiness show, the fire died out fast. What followed was silence. Then panicked supporters rushed online to defend her. But the harder they tried, the clearer it became. The illusion was gone, and everyone could finally see it.
Sandy Cortez, when she was growing up, and her lies are coming to the fore. So, among other things, Benny Johnson, who's hilarious, and he's a great Twitter follow and has a great show, went to Yorktown Heights just to take a look and to talk to some folks there about AOC and what Yorktown is like and so on. And now some of her schoolmates, separate and apart from Benny, are weighing in on.
Megyn didn't boast or gloat. She just sat back, sipping her coffee, watching the storm she'd quietly unleashed. That's the art of a true takedown, one clean strike that keeps echoing long after it lands. Clips replayed nonstop, memes exploded across every feed, and with each replay, AOC looked a little less composed, a little more exposed. It was like watching a gymnast stick every move, then stumble on the last landing. Nobody remembered the skill, only the fall. Even her loyal allies started whispering, asking if maybe the shine was always just an act. Megyn didn't create the cracks, she just turned on the light. And once the illusion broke, everyone finally saw it for what it was.
Fourth place, not necessarily fourth place. This is just, I'm going to start with as the fourth possibility, but I've got four total and you'll decide what order they go in. I'm going to kick it off with AOC. Okay. Her real name is Sandy Ocasio. This is what she went by her entire life, Sandy Ocasio. And only when she decided to run for office did she decide to suddenly become Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and lean into her Puerto Rican history, where her mother was born in Puerto Rico, but her father was born in New York City. And she decided to tell us sob stories about how she's from a poor family and she was living, paycheck to paycheck. Meanwhile, she was raised in a Tony part of Westchester.
In the end, the meme landed the final blow. The internet feeds on mockery, and Megyn handed it a feast. AOC's dramatic gestures turned into circus clips. Her pauses and stumbles became viral punchlines. Every caption screamed, "All show, no substance." Once the web grabbed hold, her credibility didn't just fade, it fossilized in digital humiliation. Every movement looked scripted, every word sounded rehearsed. Her perfect image collapsed while fans scrambled to spin excuses, and through it all, Megyn stayed silent, letting the truth speak for itself. When the lights went out, the performance ended, and all that remained was the broken illusion.